Zurich Planning and Zoning Commission for January 17, 2024. Sarosh, would you please, oh, we have Kathleen. Kathleen, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Castillo,
Present.
Commissioner Giannini,
He has not arrived yet.
Commissioner Glowacz.
Present.
If I'm murdering names, I'm sorry. Commissioner Marks is not
Not
here.
here yet.
Commissioner Morrison,
Present.
Commissioner Schultz,
Here.
Commissioner Muir is absent and excused. Have I got everybody?
Chairman.
Oh, and of course, I always forget Orlando, don't I? Going back
I'll say
historically.
here.
Chairperson Stratman.
Here. Let the record reflect that we do have a quorum present for this evening's meeting, so we can conduct our business. And as always, our first item of business will be the approval of minutes from the PZC meeting of December 13th. So if you have any questions or comments, commissioners, hear them at this time. Hearing none, I would then entertain a motion to approve the December 13th, 2024 PZC minutes as presented to us this evening.
So moved. Second.
Call the roll, please, Kathleen.
Castillo. Morrison.
Sure.
And Morrison seconded.
Let's see, where am I? Commissioner Schultz?
Abstain.
I will abstain, okay. Commissioner Morrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Glowacz?
Abstain.
Okay. Commissioner Castillo?
Aye.
Vice Chair Castillo?
Aye.
Chairperson Stratman?
Aye. So let it reflect the minutes have been submitted, approved as submitted. We'll move to the next agenda item, which is public meeting. There is no public meeting. So we skip item 3, go to item 4, which is a public hearing. So I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing for the following application, PZC 2023-20 for a PUD for the property at 900 Winnetka Terrace.
So moved.
Second.
That was Ildiko
Call the roll,
Schultz.
please, Kathleen.
And who seconded it?
Morrison.
That was Scott.
Morrison, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm not very swift with you tonight.
I'm running a parallel one.
I'm a fill-in, I'm the temp.
You're doing really well, though.
Okay, so we need, Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Glowacz,
Aye.
Commissioner Vice Chairman Castillo,
Aye.
Commissioner Schultz,
Aye.
and Chairperson Stratman.
Aye.
Did I get everybody?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so those wishing to speak at this public hearing this evening will now be sworn in. Would you please raise your right hand while I read the statement to swear you in? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Good, thank you. When you come to the podium, please sign on the sheet at the podium, and at the beginning of your statement, please state your name, spelling it out if necessary, and stating your address for the record also. All comments will be addressed to the PCC chair. Any members of the public wishing to comment will be invited one by one to the podium to provide their comment. The chairperson may limit repetitious or inappropriate comments and impose reasonable time limits in accordance with the rules of the PCC. The applicant will be given the opportunity to present their application. After the applicant's presentation, the PCC members will be able to ask questions one by one of the applicants, and the discussion can occur. After the PCC questions have been addressed, public testimony will be received, and the PCC commissioner comments or additional questions can ensue. After all persons are given the opportunity to speak, the hearing will be closed or continued, and the PCC will move into deliberation. The applicant may be given the opportunity to respond to questions posed by either the members of the PCC or village staff during deliberation. However, no more formal testimony will be taken after the hearing is closed unless the chair decides otherwise. Once all deliberation has ended, the PCC will vote on a recommendation to the village board on the matter. So,
Okay.
The first item is our application PZC 2023-20, which is the PUD for a beauty salon and spa at 900 Winnetka Terrace. It's an application for a special use permit, therefore the PUD, for a planned unit development to allow for the development of a beauty salon and spa located within the B1 Local and Community Business District. Staff, can you confirm that the proper notice was provided on this item?
Yes, it was.
Good, thank you. And then can you present the item?
Yes, actually,
Excuse me, may I, point of order,
Yeah.
Chairman? Just for the record, several of us have our phones open up here as well as laptops. And the reason for that is that we did not receive, by choice, a packet because we are down one staff member. So a lot of us are working through our phones. It's not that we are watching anything or doing anything, just to make sure, because the optics are what's important. Just so you know that all of us have to work off of the packet on a digital platform, so whether that be a phone, an iPad, or a laptop.
There's no games on tonight, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
thank you for confirming that, and the reason for that is we are trying to make an effort to go paperless to the greatest extent possible, and we can discuss that at the end of the meeting as well.
Thank you.
All right, so back to the item at hand. This evening, we have the applicant and owner of the property, the applicant who wants to construct a new beauty salon and spa, Ms. Egi Yokubaitian, and her team, attorney and contractor, I guess, civil engineer, here to make a brief presentation. If you'd like to go to the front, state your name, address, and your relationship to the applicant.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Keith Hunt. I'm an attorney. My address is 2275 Half Day Road, Suite 126, Bannockburn, Illinois, 60015. I have the privilege of representing the Spa Atelier de Beauté and its owner, Aigle Jacoboutin, which I just burped after practicing all day. It's Jacoboutin. Also with us this evening is the consulting engineer from Bono Associates, Mr. Robert Walker. As the chair noted, the project is at 900 Winnetka Terrace, which is right across from the Sandy Point Condominium Complex and the Sandy Point offices, which is where my client currently has her spa. But she's been there for 9 or 10 years and has since outgrown the space that she currently has, which is the desire to develop this parcel. She has acquired what was previously the animal hospital and is interested in hence the application for the PUD. Under the PUD, we're seeking relief from the front and rear yard setbacks and the bulk requirements as noted in the materials that you've been provided. The rear yard is seeking a rear yard setback of 12 feet rather than the 25 foot that is required, although we would note that there is currently existing a 5-foot high wooden fence for approximately 90 out of the 122 feet of rear yard. And the applicant is also proposing to put in additional landscaping there to buffer from the surrounding uses. The existing building that is currently there, which will be demolished as part of the project, currently is only 8.5 feet from the rear line, so it's an improvement all the way around from that. With respect to the front yard, we're seeking a 25-foot setback from Rand Road, keeping in mind that this setback, instead of the 50 feet that's required under the ordinance, is merely to the edge of the parking lot rather than to any buildings or structures, which would be substantially back from that. Currently, the parking lot that it currently exists is only 19 feet. So again, this is an improvement and is further back. The building and the aesthetics that have gone into the design of the exterior of this building will be a substantial improvement for the community over what is currently there, and will be in keeping with the design and direction that the village has undertaken since the early 2000s and continuing on until today with the Route 12 Corridor Planning Council and other improvements since that time. And the other, I guess, piece of relief is simply the lot size. Currently under a B1 zoning in this district, it would have to be a 20,000 square foot lot. This lot and its use really predate the current zoning and the current plating, and therefore the current lot size of 17,132 will suffice for what the applicant is doing. I would also note that the plan that the applicant has submitted provides substantially more parking than I think the village ordinance would require. The structure is approximately 2,300 feet in size. And the applicant currently on the plan, I believe, is proposing 19 parking spaces, which would be sufficient to handle not only any customers, but also the staff that would be working there at the time. The applicant is, I should note, is willing to follow all of the staff's recommendations in the staff report that was provided to you, particularly the additional landscaping that's called for. And we'll submit a lighting plan and also a sign package consistent with the village's requirements following this hearing going forward to the village board. With that, I will conclude my remarks and simply request that the relief that's provided for in the staff report be approved. And we have the applicant here as well as the consulting engineer if you have any questions regarding any aspect of the plan.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. You mentioned that the applicant is prepared to meet the conditions that the staff has presented in the staff report. How are we addressing them about the sidewalk?
In the case of the sidewalk, one of the requirements of the village is that a sidewalk be constructed on all street frontages of a property in the event of new development. In this case, we have 2 street frontages. In my recommendation, you will see that we've identified that the sidewalk along Rand Road may be practically difficult to install due to a very deep swale and change in topography in that area, the swale which is necessary for the drainage of Rand Road itself. But there is potential for a sidewalk to be constructed along the frontage of Winnetka Drive. In lieu of the construction of the sidewalk, we have at times accepted a fee in lieu of the construction of the sidewalk based on a standard rate that the village uses to collect such fee, which is $20 per square foot of sidewalk for a typically 5-foot wide sidewalk. And those are included as conditions.
Okay.
However, I will always also state that the final decision on the construction of a sidewalk lies with the village board because they are the decision-making body. And that is why we have put it as a condition here to recommending that these be the conditions included within the ordinance that will be transmitted ultimately to the village board after you make your recommendation.
All right, thank you, Zerosh. And then the other issue was, the staff already pointed out that the legal notification was sent to everyone adjacent to the property for tonight's meeting. But no adjacent residents or anyone have commented relative to this application with the signage up?
That is correct. We sent notification to residents and property owners within 250 feet of the subject property, have not heard or been called or been requested any information from any of these residents.
Because in terms of the relief on the setback, that would be the only concern if someone had an objection to that.
Yes,
And none
so
would
far
hurt.
no objections.
Okay.
And if I may, it's our understanding that the owner of the salon actually went to the nearest resident that would be potentially impacted along Winnetka and was welcomed with open arms, and they can't wait to sort of get rid of what's there and get something new and beautiful next to it.
All right, that's great feedback, thank you. Appreciate the outreach. Commissioners, comments, questions?
The present property that you're in, how is that going to be vacated? Or what's going to happen? Because they're
They're renting. Right now, they're renting from.
Got it.
I believe it's a dentist that owns the entire condo suite on both sides, and they'll simply move out and he'll rent to someone else.
Thank you. I wasn't aware that they were renting, so
Yes.
that answers the question. Thank you.
No question.
Okay, Hildy?
It's been a while since I looked at the packet on my little tablet. Do we have any renderings of what the building's gonna look like? Was that included yet? I apologize if it was, but a lot of times they will, sorry, my microphone's not on. A lot of times as part of the packet, we'll have renderings. Oh, okay, not necessarily color or
Not
whatever.
colored renderings,
Okay.
but elevations, yes.
Okay, just elevations,
Mhm.
okay, all right. Well, I know the village is very good at making sure things are done well, so, and it does look attractive from what's given, okay.
It's certainly a modern design using modern design features such as awnings above the windows, a cornice above, and material-wise, it meets the minimum requirement for a masonry-type finish, which in this case is ephes in a stucco finish.
Yeah,
Typically, we would like to see masonry buildings, but stucco also qualifies as a
Right,
masonry
right.
finish, so.
from a color perspective, are you going beiges, grays, whites, you don't know yet?
If you could come to the
Oh,
front.
I'm sorry, you have to come to the microphone so that everyone can hear at home as well as the,
If you could also
Start with
state your
start with
name.
Your name and your address.
My name is Aglia Yokubaitine, 23 Mohawk Trail Road, Lake Zurich.
okay, good evening.
Good evening. I will choose like dark gray sage color.
Okay,
It's like earthy color to
Okay,
match
earthy
match
looks-
neighborhood, not
Yeah.
stand out with very bright colors.
okay,
Kind of, relaxing spa color.
exactly, okay, excellent,
you.
thank you, thank you for that. Yeah, other than that, I didn't have any other, I think, on the recommendation, maybe it's number 9, talks about clustering the trees along Rand Road as opposed to a straight line, which I thought was a great recommendation. So as long as they're willing to follow the recommendations, I didn't have any concerns either. Thank you.
Okay, I did have one question, and that was on the drawing of the packet that was submitted, and I don't know if the civil engineer can address it or not, but it was on drawing A5. And the reason it confused me is because we understood this to be a new construction, the existing buildings to be torn down. But there was a note on the drawing, A5, at the top of the drawing, stating that the shaded area, which is the wall, the shaded area is where new studs will be sistered to existing wall studs.
Is that an error?
So, Bob Walker, Bono Consulting, 4234 Meridian Parkway in Aurora, 60504. Civil engineer here. I know from talking with the architect that the original plan was to reuse the building. I'm guessing that's an artifact from the original plans when that note came across when we revised the building to make it square. The original plan was going to be to keep that building on the 45-degree angle, but we wanted to get more parking, and the only way you could get more parking was to totally take the building down and square that everything up. So that's just an artifact from the old plans, I'm sure.
Just something that didn't get taken off the drawing. All right, thank you, Bob. On some future revision, that note will be gone? It'll show up in the revision block as
On
gone.
the revision, that will be submitted for construction.
All right, thank you, Sarosh. Okay. Antonio?
Thank you, Chair. For a point of clarification then, to Hildy's point, it's been some time that we do not get renderings of colors and schemes and things of this nature. And in this particular case, because this is being built basically across the street from Sandy Point, correct? And they all have their color scheme on all their buildings, which is that grayish color. And so if this had come in that it was going to be blue or pink, and I'm not saying that that's what you said it's going to be gray. But the point is that we don't see that. And that's something that I think we've had this kind of conversation before. And I think this is where it's important to start saying we need to see that even more so, because even though we haven't heard from prior to our meeting from neighbors. If all of a sudden they heard at this meeting that that building was going to be a pink, a red, a blue, I can assure you they would be showing up at the next meeting with the trustees, and they'd be staying at that podium, and then we'd have a big issue. And I think part of what we do in our due diligence is to basically sort through that to make sure that that is not what happens. And unless we start seeing some of those renderings, that is, this is the brick, this is the color of the asphalt, whatever it's going to be, the shingle, that we could in turn say, yes, this will fit there, or no, we make the recommendation now, then, and again, I understand that you guys probably do some of that, but we need to do it if that's what we're here for. And I bring it up again because this is a perfect example that we in turn go to the petitioner. The petitioner comes and says, oh, it's going to be a grayish, which fine, it's going to blend in nice. But we don't have that in the packet. And even though it's there to open up questions, we should have a full packet with a lot of stuff in it.
Point taken. In fact, we are also moving towards getting material samples brought to the meeting as well, as we have done in the past. In this
Right.
particular case, we had not had that opportunity, so we will do that in the future. Thank you for bringing it up.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay. Scott?
Yes. The question I have is there any consideration with the existing trees that are underneath and kind of growing over the overhead line, power lines that are right there?
I'm not sure those aren't in the right of way.
Those are in the right of way.
Yeah, they are in the right.
What,
So you're saying that would be,
well, to a certain extent, that's an IDOT issue and/or a ComEd issue, but, you know, if the Plan Commission has some sort of recommendation, we're happy to consider it.
Typically, with maintenance of trees within the right-of-way, particularly on the ComEd lines, ComEd actually maintains those trees to make sure that they don't tangle with the lines.
interfere with
So
it, I got you.
those trees will remain. The trees that they are proposing is along the periphery of their parking lot, which is an addition to these trees. So it's
Gotcha,
going to be
okay.
quite a bit of landscaping, which is where the recommendation for clustering trees came out, so you don't just crowd out the front. Because if you plant trees too close together, they crowd each other out and then reduce their chances of surviving as well.
okay, that was the only question I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
And just as a point of note on the landscaping, we had recommended granting relief of one tree, one shrub, and one evergreen tree, mainly because of the manner in which the calculations were made. Our code requires that these be rounded up versus the applicant's landscaper who rounded it down, and thereby went deficient of one. But based on the overall number of trees and shrubs being provided, we felt that what was provided was sufficient, which is why we did not have any issue with that.
Okay, thank you, Sarosh. Okay, other than that, the packet itself is pretty straightforward, with the exception of, as Vice Chair Castillo mentioned, it would be good for us to see the product because you had no PowerPoint tonight to even give us that in terms of renderings. So for us, as a commission going forward, that's what we would like to see. So if you have another one coming in to present for, that's what we would expect. And we'll be looking at staff to have those brought forward in the future.
It may
Okay.
probably help if you're still working on drawings to have a rendering done for the village board, because the village board will also look at this as well, so that way the community gets to see it. A simple view of the building showing its materials, colors, and textures.
Certainly.
Very good. Okay, commissioners, we have other questions of the petitioner? All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Out of curiosity, so your hours of operation are going to be 7 days a week?
In the
Yeah.
long term, yes.
Yeah, long-term, there'll be 7 days a week, but this is very much the day spa kind of concept. So while there may be some evening hours, they're going to be early evening hours. They're going to be respectful of the neighborhood, so they're not going to be starting Sunday morning at, 7 a.m. or some crazy thing like that. It's going to be more like maybe 10 to 3 or something on a Sunday. something where it's respectful to the surrounding neighbors.
And I'm guessing that because it is a spa, that deliveries for items that you're gonna need in the spa are gonna be delivered not by semis, but by small trucks. Because that is a road that's pretty much residential. And if all of a sudden there's a lot of traffic on that road where in the past it hasn't impacted the road, now there's gonna be a lot more traffic on that road, to which, you know, at the price that asphalt is today, it's quite expensive. So for me, it's more of making sure that that kind of gets monitored, but it seems like it won't be unless you have something.
I was just gonna say, it is our opinion that most access to this site will be from Rand Road as opposed from the neighborhood. There will be customers, we hope, from the neighborhood visiting this site, but otherwise, the majority of traffic, we understand or believe, will be from Rand Road.
Okay. No other comments? Are we ready to close the hearing and move to deliberation? Okay. Then I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing on application PCC 2023-20 and move to deliberation.
So moved.
Thank you, Alden.
Oh, second.
Thank you, Antonio. Call the roll, please, Kathleen.
Commissioner Glowitz,
Aye.
Commissioner Castillo,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Schultz,
Aye.
Chairperson Stratman.
Aye. Okay, are there board comments we want to enter into the record on this particular petition?
Other than the one that Sarosh brought up about the sidewalk, I think that, for me, I don't have any other than the sidewalk, because I do.
Okay. Scott, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Overall, it's an improvement. So,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And good to see the business stay in the village and be growing as one of our village businesses, so that's also good news. Hildy?
Absolutely. No, I have nothing.
John?
No.
Okay. Then, if we've concluded our deliberations, I would then entertain on application PCC 2023-20, a motion to receive into the public record the staff review of compliance of this application with the zoning standards as presented by staff, and to receive the testimony presented by the applicants, by the PCC members, and by village staff at tonight's public hearing, and to make these standards and testimony a part of the official record of the application and findings of the PCC, and to recommend that the village board approve the application for the PUD for a beauty salon and spa at 900 Winnetka Terrace.
So moved.
Thanks, Antonio.
Second.
Thanks, Ilya. Call the roll, please, Kathleen.
Okay, I missed who made it.
Antonio.
Oh, it was Castillo, okay, thank you. Commissioner Castillo,
Aye.
Commissioner Glowacz,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
aye.
Commissioner Schultz,
Aye.
Chairperson Stratman.
Aye. So this item has been unanimously approved for recommendation to the village board, and it will appear at an upcoming meeting in February. Do we know the date?
We don't know the date yet,
Okay.
but I will inform the applicant of the date when we transmit this to the village board for their consideration.
All right, and in following what was suggested, have the presentation for the board include the items that we would like to see as well, but moving forward, they would like to see that. Because it's going to be an attractive building, show it off, okay? All right, thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
and good luck.
Thank you, and thank you for your time and hard work.
Thank you. Okay, then we move to other business, of which there isn't any. How about staff report?
I just have one item on the staff report, which is a brief update on our comprehensive plan efforts. As we had briefed you last December, the public engagement process was still going on. We had a poll that was that remained open until 2 weeks after the beginning of the new year, and quite a few of our residents and interested people participated in the online poll. We had about 368 participants, which was quite a remarkable number, which provided the consultant with a lot of feedback. So they're in the process right now digesting that and putting it together. But just as a reminder, the PZC here serves as the steering committee for the comp plan, and so the consultant is scheduled to come before you in February, at the February meeting, to provide an update as to where they are and what they found from all of the community engagement activities that they've conducted. So that's
Great.
coming up in February, February
Okay.
21st. And that is all I have as far as our official staff report. I have not received any applications for our February meeting yet, but we have until the end of this week.
Okay. And when we spoke in December, you mentioned that we were in for plan review on the former TGIF Friday. Is that still moving forward?
Yes, that is actually moving forward. The applicants returned in late November and informed the village that they would be proceeding. So they were given a few deadlines and thresholds to meet. If they didn't move forward or couldn't meet those thresholds, there would be some compensation to the village. So they have put a security deposit with the village currently. They obtained their permit just prior to December 1st. They submitted their application, I should say, for a permit prior to December 1st. Their permit has been approved and it needs to be picked up and get underway by February 1st. And the establishment needs to be open and operating by July 1st of this year.
Okay.
And so
All right, good.
we've put them on a fast track to getting established since we waited 2 years for them.
Yeah, it's been a couple years.
Anything else you would like to know?
Any other updates any of the
Updates?
commissioners looking for? Anything, open items that haven't been?
You emailed us that the,
Midlothian Manor?
yes, thank you. That they were withdrawing
Yes.
their application, and that's not gonna go forward. At this point, any idea what may happen next with that property, or is it just gonna sit until somebody else potentially comes and proposes something?
So, at this point, it is still owned by the Housing Authority of Lake County. And so, the developer could petition to Lake County's Housing Authority to develop the same project. At this time, all they've indicated to us is that they are approaching Lake County with that idea. We have not seen anything further.
Okay, and then one thing we're going to discuss then was the issue on the packets.
Yes, we can talk about that too.
Okay,
So, last week, or was it last week, I sent an email out stating that in our efforts to go paperless, and the fact that we were down a staff member, we were going to encourage you to review these applications that we get electronically. And so we had sent you an electronic version of it, but with the caveat that if anyone wanted a paper copy, we would be happy to provide them for you to be picked up at our department front desk. I did get one request, which we fulfilled, but I've also heard from another commissioner that you would like paper packets. But in light of the fact that some of you may be a little more comfortable working electronically, does everyone need a paper packet, or are some of you comfortable with electronic? I know Commissioner Castillo, you want a paper packet, so we will get you that.
And again, I'm as good a geek as most, if not, better. For me, as I indicated before, I like the paper so that I can write on it. I don't want to be able to, on my iPad, I've got notes, I've got the pen, I can do it all there. It's not the same. Plus, when we get it digitally on an iPad, it basically doubles in size. So if, right, like today's packet is 51 or 52 pages. When you look at it on an iPad, it's well over 125, just because the screen can't hold all of that.
Makes it very hard.
Plus, the renderings are not the same, and you can't just blow them up, and you can't just guide around. Whereas when you have the full document, and if, for me, and I don't disagree with what Sarosh is saying about going green, but if you're going to do 4, what's the difference between 4 and doing 7 or 8? That's not going to make it any less greener or more greener. So for me, it's more the community. And then the other thing I said was, we are a volunteer group, a committee of volunteers. So we, unlike the the trustees, who do get a stipend because they were voted into play, and I don't know what that stipend is, but it used to be $1,000, it's probably more than that. They have that ability to go out and fire off copies and do them in color and do whatever, and it's not a big deal. We have to, if I want to
It's
do
out
it,
of our pockets, right?
it's gonna come out of the
Yeah.
pockets. I wanna go to the library, I'm gonna do it there, which is a little less expensive, but I still have to go through that initiative, and I'm saying, well, wait a minute, that's not part of what I signed up to do. And I think that as a village resident, my taxes are going for that, and
Yeah.
that's the expectation I have. So for me, it's not that I can't do it digitally, I can. But I just prefer the paper document, because I can write on it, I can scribble on it, I can take notes when people are up here without having to bring something else that I'm gonna be writing on and then kind of seeing where they match
Right.
up.
Right.
But that's my 2 cents on it.
No, I agree with you 100%. I would prefer a packet. It's much easier, and, you know, today we had only one item, and it was relatively simple. I mean, if we had another Lifetime come in, or the packet for Midlothian Manor, with all the meetings and everything, it was like this. I can't do it justice, looking at an online packet, and especially the renderings. I mean, Orlando had them blown up, so he's got 11 by 17
Yeah.
for the drawings. I'm not gonna be able to do that at home, I don't have it, you know. So that would be my preference as well. I hate to say it, but
Nope, no, absolutely. We want,
You know, you
obviously,
want
the
us to
commission
do
to
our
be
job.
effective and efficient, so.
exactly, and I
So-
think I would be more effective if I had it on paper.
Okay, sounds
Now, are
good.
you
No.
still recommending that we come pick it up?
No, we will bring it over to you. If you're preparing paper, we will bring it over. I'll make arrangements.
Okay. And then we're agreed, we'd like to see the,
Yeah, it makes no difference to me,
I'm the
one way
same.
or the other than the optics, which I do appreciate you bringing up, because it's different than what we've done before, but that would be the only thing. And if we get to critical threshold here, where most people have paper packets, it's gonna be odd if I'm
Okay.
operating
We
on a
will-
laptop.
We will
so.
provide you with paper.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He said it for me.
Okay.
I'm used to looking at them on computer all day, every
Yeah.
day, but
That's fine.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, we will provide.
I agree, being able to write on the drawing is nice, but
I guess I wouldn't know if I didn't ask, so I've
Right.
gotten my answer.
okay,
Thank
all
you.
right, so we have our answer. All right. Any other comments? Okay. Then I would entertain, public comment. Anyone this evening?
There's no one.
Anyone? Seemed kind of quiet. Okay. Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please, Kathleen.
And that was Castillo,
Seconded.
okay. Okay, Commissioner Glowis,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
aye.
Commissioner Schultz,
Aye.
Vice Chair Castillo,
Aye.
Chairperson Stratman.
Aye. Thank you, Kathleen. We are adjourned for this month's meeting. Thank you,
you.
everyone.
And thank you, Kathleen, for taking notes and assisting us.
Thank you so much.
So, have a good night, everyone, and stay warm.
Yes.
7:39.
First one's easier than the last.
Friday.